afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Psych, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to our 1 vs 1 on Simwaski. Between the south, we got here Burnededges fighting for King and Country for the 51st Highland Division. South, we're holding this river crossing versus the Germans in the north, Ccarts fighting for the Oberkommando West, Deutschland. And the Führerbegleitbrigade with Breakthrough Doctrine they're chosen. Officer and Infantry Bulletin versus Burnededges, Royal Artillery, Vanguard, and Royal Engineer Regiment here with 3 Infantry Bulletins. When we got a Volkskunde Kubag start for Ccarts, who's by an old Company's 1 player, versus Burnededges here with double section Indian Universal Carrier. So, I suppose, slightly sort of the similar. 1 infantry unit, 1 light vehicle. Section sitting out there towards the centre, where Ccarts is spreading out there. Sturmparts going for fuel. Fult's going to take southwards here, perhaps towards the centre, perhaps towards the other fuel. We'll find out soon enough for the Kubang here on the way for him as well. Play a lot of companies. One he preferred playing the Panzer Elite. One thing I remember him for was spamming hetzers in Companies 1 as the Panzer Elite. He was quite good at that. Section moving about here in the south, we got Section 8. In fact, noting he's laying up a lot of sandbags, even right next to his base. He's taking no chances. Also set of sandbags, in this case disrupted by the Volkskunde first shots here. Lee Enfield rifles versus Kar 98Ks. Shots flying across here. Kubang falling up to grab territory there. With more Volkskundes on the way for Ccarts, of course, he's going to have a slight sort of numbers advantage over Burnededges, at least for a while there. They're suffering losses here, so while he does have the numbers, qualitatively, Burnededges will have the advantage as long as he's got a good position. Vickers following up there for Burnededges, Universal Carrier rolling out, filled with spite and hatred of the Hun. Vic Brengun there mounted on the front. There we go, Volk going to sort of really take losses. They're down to 2 men now. Section has not suffered a single loss here, and of course with the Universal Carrier, victory is pretty much assured here. And the north here, Steel Pioneers continuing forwards, going there for the next point right after the fuel point. In the east here, Kubang rolling a bit back. More folks is running there for Ccarts in the south here. I mean, this time he actually hasn't laid down a bit of sandbags there. Perhaps he wasn't paying attention, who knows. Meanwhile, going up here, slowly advancing through hostile territory. Good lord. Finishing in the sandbags here. And tech up there for Ccarts, and same here for Burnededges. Laying down the foundations for that. There'll probably be some sappers, maybe the AC, snipers, 6-pounder guns, and other goodies there. And there you go, Schwerer Wehrmacht Schlepper out here for Ccarts. Volkskunde reinforcing. Oh, attempted trenches right at the centre victory point. Bold setup. Vicker setting up inside the church as well. Not entirely sure what Ccarts continue through there. I mean, there's heavy British resistance there, so he's better off trying to play around it instead of just bashing his head in there fruitlessly. Like, I don't know, someone trying to do something really silly, like, I don't know, emptying the sea with a spoon. Except more painful. So there you go, digging a trench while in the fire though, that is on the other hand also pretty silly and foolish and painful. Right there, losing 2 section members. Perhaps he wasn't quite aware what Ccarts had just shifted positions. Meanwhile, Sturmparts continue up. He's actually sort of just grabbing most of the map, but he seems to just be sort of at least leaving 1 unit to sort of harass and thrust and keep sort of Burnededges tied up in the centre while he then moves units out across the map. He, in fact, used the Kubang here for some excellent sort of rear line harassment, going straight for the fuel point, ignoring everything else here. Well played there by Ccarts, and I'm pretty sure Burnededges did not expect that. And he's laying down sandbags. I think he's trying to block the path of the Kubelwagen using sandbags. And he's not cheating in either. He's actually finishing them dutifully. But sir, we could just leave them cheesy. No! This is the British Army. We shall have no cheese in the British Army. What do you think we are? The French? Not on my watch. Jenkins, not on my watch. If I hear any more of that from you, I'll slap you myself. North here, Volkskunde continue to fight versus Universal Care. Not really a good engagement here overall for them. Battle Group headquarters up there for Ccarts. Sturmparts almost got the point there. And Kubang rolling up, but here unknown that soon one of its parts is going to be blocked off. He's then going to just take up position by the river crossing there, pretty much block the Kubang from easily escaping there. That's actually some sharp thinking there by Burnededges. That is some absolutely sharp thinking there from Burnededges. Top shelf thinking, really. In this case, that the Kubang does get away there. They weren't in cover, so they can't quite, you know, shoot as well as they otherwise could have, but I really like that line of thinking there. It also makes it harder again just to harass. Again, they have to go through that point in a sense, or he has to sort of specifically order them to vote. I mean, if he's just harassing there, it's not going to work. He's going to have to specifically, laboriously order them to go through there. Folks, we continue here versus the Universal Carrier. Just a sort of silly standoff there. So that end of the house is slowly going to be filled with the corpses of Germans. Kuban, they escaped, but low on health. And of course, what he can then just do is, for example, just lay down a tank trap here. Alright, here we got jump on section, catching a section out in the open there with assault rifles. Getting into the house, but the problem is right here, there's only one window, so we can just set up then, basically win the engagement. Oh dear, he wasn't paying attention. He lost the Universal Carrier. A huge, silly loss there for Burnededges. Oh dear, he could easily pull that one away, but he was too caught up in everything else there, I think. So it wasn't... Oh no, Burnededges. Macedmev up here as well to support. Sandbags down there, good work. And we got the Sturmoffizier out here for the Führer Begleitbrigade, or Führer Escort Brigade. One of two brigades essentially formed up from the units meant to guard the Wolfschanze until well after it was abandoned, in which case they were formed into frontline infantry units. So initially sort of brigades like Panzergrenadier formations, Panzer brigades, and then later into full divisions actually, which would then sort of give them their own Panzer Corps. Fun fact there, by the way, fun fact. There's a little detail there. And they're actually sort of formed from elements that used the Großdeutschland specifically, which caused the Western Allies to misidentify the units as to the Großdeutschland division, you know, initially as well. That's another fun fact there. But they were just formed using elements that had been attached to guard the Führer then, the Wolfschanze back then, and which were never returned to the division when it used to form up their own units. Little fun fact there again. It's one of those, again, many units sort of late war. You generally don't hear much about. There's not a lot of details on them, a lot of discussion, a lot of talk. They just sort of exist, but that's about it. Again, Referees getting slowly sniped out here by the 50 cal sniper there. In the east here, we got Volkswagen with the officer pushing against the section with another trench up here for him. Burnededges sticking in hard for king and country. Relentlessly fighting the Hun every step of the way. In the west here, Kuban fixed up by the Sturm Pioneers. We got nothing here, but it's from the Belgrove headquarters. We got Panzerfusilier out there, which were initially only sort of part of the Großdeutschland, but the Führer Begleit and the Führer Grenadier units would have had their own panzers because, again, they were from the Großdeutschland. Later, other units would also receive them for other reasons. But essentially, you can consider a Panzerfusilier to sort of be an even more elite Panzer Grenadier, if you will, sort of to roughly describe it. He's actually wiring off here to make it further different. Even mind him, you can really see just how Burnededges really does not want Ccarts to harass his fuel. He is absolutely determined. That is really some good effort there from Burnededges there. Generally, you don't get that kind of edges or effort. We got here AC versus Panzerfusilier doing a lot of damage with the Ccarts machine gun and its main gun, sending the Panzerfusiliers running, scurrying back home to Germany, or the base. South zone run off as well, though, holded here by the officer and the Volksgrenadiers. A stubborn push by the German army. And we got bolted sections here up for Burnededges, making him that much more of a nasty customer here to deal with. Sturm Pioneers being suppressed by the Vickers. We got 8 Kuban moving up as well there for the cuff point. And snipers here snapping away there, killing away at the Huns.
An engineer unit is ready for action.
Almost wiping the entire squad there. Back here, troops healing, reinforcing. AC is also going to need some fixing up there, but there are no immediate sappers within sight. Of course, with their Sten guns. Sturm Pioneers utilising a bit of the cover against the sappers over the hill. They're there, fighting away with their Sten guns up close. Also known as the Plumber Special. A notoriously unreliable submachine gun to an extent, though also occasionally actually favoured by the German army as well, which of course is a bit contradictory. But the Germans preferred it because the magazine went out to the side, meaning they could fire it from a prone position compared to the MP40, and seeing as it used the same ammunition, there wasn't exactly a lot of problems there finding ammunition for it. Panzerfusilier has a section there. Vickers here being flanked by Kugelwagen, not really a lot there, Volkswagen being suppressed, grenade going off there, Stielhandgranate, and almost fixed up there. The loss of the Sturm Pioneers though will hurt Ccarts there a bit. That means he doesn't have anything to repair with, and of course cut some short a bit of an assault element and sort of, you know, other bits, like, you know, he could get a pantry strike if he needs to from them. Of course, it also means he's got no minesweeper, so it actually creates a bit of a force gap for CCR. So that is something he has to keep in mind there. Or he can end up losing a lot of units to mines, or, you know, get caught off guard by a vehicle. Who knows? Troops are healing reinforcement. We've got no tech up yet for CCR. I mean, he could now go for a Schwerpanzer Quartz. Looks like he just got it there. For Burning Edges, tech up. It's not quite there again. The constant pressure and harassment from CCR again does ensure fuel superiority there for CCR. Again, well played there. And of course, the heavy focus on Burning Edge from the centre again further means, again, while he does control the centre, again, control some of the movement, he does not control the resource flow. So again, CSARTs very much enjoys their fuel advantage over Burning Edges, and Burning Edges needs to push out harder for the sides. They need to try and seize back the map of the momentum. Jockson, in that sense, Vanguard is really good for that. Raid operations allows both infantry and vehicles to take territory really, really fast. It's an absolutely amazing ability simply for that purpose. Plus, an officer could also mark quite a bit. In fact, he could try and set it up around here to establish a forward reinforcement and retreat point for his army, which would then serve not only offensively but defensively. So in that regard, Vanguard operations is a really solid British regiment, if you will. Royal Artillery, I suppose, could also work just for the sheer ability of calling barrages to break up German assaults here. Slight movement there in the west, but the Sabres have to retreat very quickly, or he needs to drop in a glider very soon. Very much schlepping towards there. The fuel. Looks like going to set up a Schwerpanzer Quartz to cover the fuel point there. Nice move. Rarely done, though. Really, rarely done. Most will try and set it with a battle group headquarters at a fourth position here. They'll just set it up into their own base. Very rarely will they actually try to guard the fuel point here from Mosky, actually. And he's also noted here wrecking the trench with Arcaden effort. Because, you know, the British do unspeakable things in their trenches, Jürgen. Yeah. Like what? You know. Drinking tea and then throwing the trash in the trench. I mean, scheiße. What's next? Shitting in them? Back here, officer almost good to go again. The Sturm Officer. And there you go, replacement Sturm Pioneers for CCR. It's going to, of course, also soon go for some Obersoldaten. Germany's finest.
Ready to roll.
Academy edging ahead here. All quiet here, just mostly set up here again. Burning Edges, very focused on the centre. Again, he really does not want to give ground to you, but at the same time it does minimise sort of his effectiveness elsewhere. So as long as CCR, you know, doesn't make any stupid moves in towards the centre, just use it to keep Burning Edges further occupied. I mean, he can overall gain a good map control there. I can't get so good at those the AC there with a few rockets to the front. Volkswagen moving ahead, Kuwait needs to pull back here, troops getting suppressed, the cover slowly crumpling apart under heavy, repeated British fire. Got a 6-pounder gun on the way there for Burning Edge as well. Volkswagen's moving up there. No, by the way, assault rifles here for CCR's Volksgrenadiers. Not a single Sturmgewehr as of yet to increase the firepower. He's trying to repair under fire though. That's not so clever there. And already 2 men have suffered some... 3 men have suffered quite excruciating losses in the process before CCR learns his lesson. Sabres then pushed back by some valiant Volksgrenadiers. Yeah, that ended up being quite wasteful there for CCR. He didn't get repaired and he just got 3 Sturm Pioneers killed. And of course, in that regards, Burning Edge might want to try and mine up this area, at least make it a lot harder for CCR using. In fact, he could do one thing, is actually move up his sappers there, upgrade them if necessary, and then begin laying, well, he doesn't actually, then begin laying, you know, cover, destroy cover, basically. Remove all the heavy cover here, ensuring that he can only use the building, then wreck the building, ensuring there's nowhere CCRs can hide while trying to attack the village from that angle. Instead, we got a mortar placement up here. Not bad either, very dominant and certainly on a map like this. In the centre here, though, again, very important to note, does not control the edges and the fuel points. And again, we can sort of see again, Burning Edges is, in a sense, burning the edges of his perspective of the map. And again, just absolutely honing in on the centre, like a dog honing in on a biscuit, on a treat, and ignoring the world around it. AC here, they're dealing with some Volkswagens on the side. They're quickly gunning them down. Jerry standing no chance against the AC. Mark 3. here, healing reinforcement, troops moving up there. Section using the cover provided, Ccarts tripping ahead, and we got a Panzer IV then with CCRs. No orbital down, on the other hand. Plenty of Panzer Fusiliers there with G43s, and the section actually needs to quickly fall back. We got grenade bombing up there, of course, got more troops moving ahead, all under the supervision of the Sturmoffizier. So there you go, quickly vaulting over the car before hitting retreat here. Otherwise, he'd have to take a very long retreat route straight for enemy territory. Whoa, whoa. Careful there. Something up in there, go Fulton's finally pushed back here with a combined British effort there from Burnededges, Sappers and Scout Car. Morton's placement good to go. All dug in here for the 51st Highland Division.
Firepower is now available for units.
Troops are healing, reinforcing. Panzer IV there arriving for Ccarts in a few moments.
Panzer IV, ready for action.
There we go. Panzer Kampfwagen 4 with its Schürzen up. Panzer's quickly occupying the building there. There's the Sappers. They should overall have the most advantage, except of course for one tiny detail, the mortar emplacement. Fire raining down there on the Panzer's house. Their position is not very strong for long. Not with all the fire that's being leveled against them. Pretty much no support for them in return. It seems like Ccarts is also risking burning his own edges. I'm focusing a bit too much in the centre here. Seems like he's almost forgot the west, but no, looks like there's a Panzer IV moving in there. Painted up machine gun on the way, and again, very much noting, still not a single assault rifle of those Volksgrenadiers. Definitely unusual. Most Oberkommando West players will at this point, have them upgraded with assault rifles, just further increase the damage, but seems like Ccarts is saving up for other elements, like, his Panzer Fusiliers. They go quick flank in here, engaging the vicars in the church. Almost taking out the church as well. Sabs they grab the point. Cookins and the mines here are there. Church is now a wreck, a smouldering ruin. A testament to Ccarts' cruelty and lack of care for the local environment. Until they're going against the Panzer Steel Pioneers, Academy being suppressed by the Vicars. Panzer IV trying to get it, but we got a 6-pounder gun there. Nice in position, shoots through the side armor time and time again. Vicars there refusing to fall before the might of the Panzer IV. I've got the AC moving up. In fact, he could try and flank the Panzer IV there with his AC. And sounds like something just expired. There he goes, there's a Kednev there. And we got Bren guns here on Burnededges infantry sections, further increasing their firepower. And he's brought up double Brens on them, by the way, doubling the amount of advantage they get with them, making them really tough customers. The Bren, by the way, was a Czechoslovakian machine gun initially. The British modified this design slightly, but otherwise it was pretty much just a Czechoslovakian light machine gun. In fact, the name Bren, or the BR in Bren, stands for Brno, which is the town it was made in, or made from. N then stands for Enfield, same with Sten. ST stands, I think, for the inventor. N for Enfield. Sort of funny, the naming convention the British had there with some of the weapons. So a little fun detail there, Further fun is, I believe the Japanese actually copied the Bren gun themselves. Coming up down, slight twist to it. Section needs to be careful. And he's quickly falling back in the face of the Panzer IV, which is taking a bit of fire there from the mortars. Troops healing, reinforcing here, and we got a Cromwell tank out here for Burnededges, the Cromwell Mark IV. Up here, Panzer Fusiliers, Volksgrenadiers, and Officer versus the section quickly falling into the house here for a stronger position. Officer slightly falling back here to lead his men, but not in a position that directly gets him shot at directly, which is a sensible move there by Ccarts. Panzer a quick retreat here, having taken minor losses. Ccarts are not pushing his luck. Also noting light infantry gun provided a bit of light artillery to try and pressure the British positions in the centre. Of course, another option would be to try and outmaneuver them and crash them that way. Volksgrenadiers getting blasted by the AC, 9 kills. More mines here to cover up the centre. In fact, he's also checking up for flanks just in case. He is clearly not underestimating Ccarts there, which is certainly a very sensible approach. Sturmpine supporting, Panzer IV firing away here in the centre. We got section pushing forward again with a double Brens. Light infantry gun pushed away. Also, another fun fact about the Czechoslovakians, they're in fact, at the beginning of World War One, like before, the second biggest arms manufacturer in Europe, and the Germans seized them, gaining thusly the second biggest arms manufacturer in Europe. It's generally not talked about a lot, but that's a little fun detail there. Cromwell moving up there, Panther needs to deal with that. Good hit there from the Panther against Cromwell. Cromwell falling back there. Seizing points here as well, and back here healing reinforcing back in Burnededges base. Not a lot there. We got Mills bombs on the way though. Of course, one thing for Burnededges to consider now could be either, you know, aiming for hammer or anvil tactics. I mean, if he went for anvil, I mean, he could go in for heavy engineers, but also a Churchill tank, which could be quite useful in sort of helping hold sort of the bits of the town, or breaking what was left of CCR's control here, plus, you know, better artillery, which you could then combine with Royal Artillery, for example. Or, of course, hammer for the Comet tank. There you go, AC versus Panzer IV. Both veterans who won. Artillery firing down against the Panzer IV. We got a Jagdpanzer on the way there. 4 CCRs. And the few Big Light Brigade.
The enemy are attacking an emplacement.
Jagdpanzer halfway done. Cromwell engaging a lot of German infantry right in front of Kedmir, though has to fall back rapidly. Didn't get off damage engine on it. I'm going to use to get away here from the evil naughty hands. Panzer IV could drive over the sandbags there, allowing for more easy harassment of the southern fuel point again there by him. And finally we got a doctoral choice here for Burnededges, 20-minute mark. It is a Royal Engineer. I mean, I know some players like it, and these just basically just pop stand fast, but sort of in a larger picture, I don't think he should have gone for it. I really think, hey, he could have done better with either Vanguard or, well, Royal Artillery. Instead, he went for this one. I don't think that's the right choice, really. Personally, anyways.
Crew, get ready.
And I think Royal Artillery or Vanguard would have served him better, again, for different reasons. Royal Engineer is sort of one of those sort of odd ones out there, really. Sort of a collection of abilities, but not really sort of anything I'd say really good. Also, there's this one, but you know, it doesn't really sort of cater towards a specifically good playstyle. I mean, it's sort of a defensive in nature, and I suppose that works, but again, personally, I just don't like the defensive sort of aspect. If you get too defensive, you just make it easy for your opponent to sort of figure out where you are and just sort of deal with you in a more casual, leisurely manner. Universal Caramel Man way there, so that's probably going to be the command vehicle. Slow move ahead here. And it's actually time here for Mick Gimnaus in terms of damage. Burnededges ahead kills wise. Burnededges is ahead overall. In fact, it's not looking too good for CCRs in that regard. Army value wise, though, CCRs has actually been quite clearly leading. But again, Burnededges control the centre. He also now controls the like west there again. CCR's got a bit too focused on the east and trying to push in from there into the village proper. Sort of slightly gave up then, I think, on some good harassment there versus Burnededges. Though, of course, we do see there's sort of an attempt to board back there. In fact, we sort of notice on the minimap right then and there. In terms of resource flow, close to each other. Though it's now Burnededges sort of floating a bit in points held again. Initially CCRs there, but again Burnededges has been slowly able to get back because CCRs forgot about the control here. I'm sort of look at the tactical map here. I mean, right now again we can see that he sort of clearly is in very much control of the arch point on the maps here, but again this side is very lightly defended, as you might notice. There's not what you'd particularly call a lot of defenders or even defenses. All centered around this tiny little square in the center of the map here. So again, if CCRs were to sort of project more forces here, you could easily again attack also through here and here. In fact, you could cut off through here, cutting off this bit and further make it more difficult then for him to take advantage. Plus, you'd have several points for attacking the mortar emplacement right here, instead of just trying to barge through here. Again, that's sort of the trick of Moscow, again, as I made a video for. Attacking here is a lot more option for attacking in the village in the center than through here, which again has a lot fewer and also makes it really easy for the chap here to defend. So again, he really should consider more directions of attack. Though, of course, also important to note, he's actually mined up most of the directions. Again, that sense Burnededges to an extent is aware of it. But apparently not aware enough to actually at least leave a bit more in defense here on the western side, rather than just leaving it completely open and leaving himself largely blind, which is always something to be careful of. So, I mean, for Burning Edges, I think, you know, I mean, he could try and get more tanks out. That's not a bad idea. But a part of me thinks, you know, he's just going to sit back anyways. Taking up here, I think, specialising further, I think would be good. I mean, comet tanks would be really good here to extent. But I also think, you know, I mean, Churchill's, again, advanced warning would make it more easy for him to see what's going on. Again, leave him less blind in the west. Airburst shells, again, he's not really got a doctrine sort of plate, but still could be useful there, you know, throwing into it there. Heavy engineers, better repair times, more combat ability, that's good. And the Churchill, and again, in this kind of plate, might actually serve him quite well on top of that as well. So, I mean, that wouldn't be a half-bad choice. I mean, both would be good, I think, but, you know, I still think he needs to make his own decision and then try to push forward, you know, rather than just sitting on his flaccid posterior, to put it mildly. I mean, otherwise he just risks, again, Ccarts just basically slowly but surely poking around his defense until he finds a good spot and then just hammers through. You need to be a bit more active to ensure your opponent never really just sits there and could just figure out where defense are and then sort of find the right method to deal with them. You always want to keep your opponent a bit off edge to make it hard for him to come up with a clear and concise answer to your defense. So, I mean, again, Burning It is, I think, running into the danger of just getting too confident, too relaxed, really, in fact, too relaxed in his defensive, which is really something you should always avoid. As for Ccarts, good harassment again, good attack. He's finally again harassing down south, again looking for fuel advantage. Good, he's got a Panzer IV, he's got a Yak Panzer, in fact he's even got it here, so in theory if he were to again attack more through here, he could even try and launch 2 attacks again, 1 attack from here, and an attack through here, though of course he needs a mine sweep, but sort of ensure he doesn't run into any mines, and for example ends up with a tank in front of an anti-tank gun, and the tank's got no working engine. That would be really bad for Ccarts. But again, attacks from several points here could do, I think, him quite well and bring up some more armor down the road. Be good. Maybe another Panzer IV here, perhaps a Yak Panzer or a Panther here would, I think, work out quite nicely there for Ccarts. That way, further pressuring Burning Edges. Maybe some orbital dart, and partly just for the bundle grenades, but of course all just for their sheer combat ability. But otherwise, I mean, Ccarts, I think, sort of got a better, clearer idea of how to win this. And again, focusing on the rest of the map here, though again, needs to be careful again, as it does seem to have a slight tendency just getting too caught up here. But again, trying to grab the rest of the map that way, force Burning Edges to push out, catch him out in the open then, and wrecking him, but also just launching attacks from here until he sort of finds the right spot to attack from and deals with this. And again, that's what Burning Edges wants to avoid. So again, he needs to be a bit more active than this in a sense. Okay, we're for spotted, sections moving up. And he might lose it right there to the British. In fact, looks like it. Gun down there. Panther IV finally moving up to jump out, sneaking about here. Officer Gartner, in fact, he's moving straight up next to the British base. University Care rushing out. And Yak Panzer heading up here with its high velocity 75mm gun. Same as the one on the Panther, by the way. Panzer Fusilier there, gaining there to 2, fighting against the section like Kedmeffer there. Panther IV moving out. And pushing back like Kedmeffer there. And there you go, command vehicle here. You'll probably just use it primarily for air reconnaissance and not, say, boosting the combat presence on most troops, because, again, that's what most players use it for. Simply for air reconnaissance, which is absolutely silly.
Enemy threatening a capture point.
Panzer IV, they're taking hits from the crumble. It gets back a nice hit there with its gun there. Another penetrating the Panther fight needs to get out of there, unfortunately. In fact, we now see Burning Edges going for the Firefly. Or Sherman VC, as actually called. Firefly, I think, was a sort of a bit rare designation actually in the war. It was most referred to as the VC. Fun fact. And of course, this one not as the Yak Panzer, but the Panzer IV-70V. Again, in part to make the Allies think, I imagine, that they actually had a Panzer IV with a high velocity gun and not just a tank destroyer with it. I mean, both are nasty, but, you know, an actual Panzer IV with the same gun as the Panther, I think, would be a lot more nightmare for the Allies. Obviously, on a really bad retreat path, again, that's the problem. He should have just crushed the sandbags for this Panzer IV when he had the opportunity here, but I think Ccarts forgot to think this one through. But in this case, it looks like Lady Fortune favours him then. He does get wiped out. But again, note here, Yak Panzer covering harassment in the west here. Bit risky though, might want a few more forces to work with it. Might. Back here, healing reinforcement. And we got a bit of movement here as well. Again, the same retreating officer. I must get really exhausted after all this. I mean, just keep running at pace. Another combat patrol here. Wow, almost got the bastard himself, but he survives there. Lieutenant Gottlieb makes it for Deutschland. A bit of quiet here again now. Not a lot of response from Burnededges to the harassment here again. He could easily responded with Cromwell, AC, held even the Firefly by now and a bunch of inch and then pushed out CCRs from there, but he's not. You also know now he's actually got 3 Panzerfusilier squads then. There we go, another aircraft shot down. A few minor losses there for the RAF, the Royal Air Force. Sturmoffizier getting his numbers rebuilt. They're having suffered some nasty losses.
We're losing a capture point.
Volksmith Panzerfusilier here. There's an advancing section. Artillery raining down. He's just slowly trying to dig through here, but that's going to be a slow, arduous thing here. Out in the open, there's a lot of Bren guns. Not really the best idea there for CCR to fight from. And there you go, we see retreat. We got Volksmith sneak about here. And we got stand fast. Firefly firing there. Again, under supervision here of the command carrier. Boosting its stats, I believe, rate of fire and accuracy amongst other things. Actually making the Firefly even more nasty. And there you go, snipes poor Ludwig with a 17-pounder shell. And what's this? Oh, good lord, we got breakthrough. We got breakthrough. Hit down the Firefly, doesn't do much. Of course, thanks to this. Oh, no, actually does reduce damage. There you go, more hits, more hits. Universal carry down, Firefly down. Wow. I don't think Burnededges was prepared for this. I think he was occupied elsewhere. Either way, he just lost his Universal Carrier and his Firefly here to a rarely well-utilised assault artillery call-in. Wow. Usually that ability just turns out to be a complete whiff here, but in this case, he achieves a quite great effect, taking advantage of the sheer density of Burnededges' defence in the southern half of the village. Wow. Good play. Good play. Less good play, obviously, here from Burnededges, but then again, most players I don't think will ever utilise their assault artillery like that, but Ccarts is definitely not your average player. So yeah, that Firefly ended up not really achieving much. I don't even think Ccarts intended to do that much damage. He was probably just intending to like do a bit of damage here and it happened to retreat. But in this case, again, Burnededges seemed more preoccupied with other matters. Sabs out in the almost the Panzerfusilier. Cromwell going for the Jagdpanzer, good penetrating hit there. Jagdpanzer needs to reverse a bit more, a bit slow there, good hit, but there's no infantry nearby it. Cromwell there just using speed there to outmaneuver the Jagdpanzer. There you go, another hit, but now we got another problem. They got a 6-pounder gun moving in from the rear here as the Cromwell tries to, yeah, there we go. Is this intended or an accidental bait there? Either way, he's actually managed to drive the Jagdpanzer into the 6-pounder gun there. Wiping out, they're getting a bit of vengeance for the units lost in the German artillery barrage in the centre. He's lost a unit elsewhere though, section wiped out here. Most likely by the Panzer IV, now Veteran T2. So quite a few bloody exchanges there. We also got the sniper here, fresh sniper I believe, for him. Having lost the previous one, we didn't even notice that. Well, I didn't notice it actually, come to think of it. Just realised, oh hey, this is a new sniper. Oh, that means the other one died. Now, what is Ccarts playing for next here? Could he actually be playing for the Jagdtiger? Could he? I mean, he's spending a lot of manpower, and he's got a lot of fuel there, and there's not really much else he could be saving up for at this point. He could easily go for a Panther now, if that is what he wants. So is he actually aiming for the Jagdtiger?
The enemy are attacking an emplacement. Infantry squad trained and ready to go.
Full grenadiers, officer Panzers all charging in here. A bit risky there. Sniper out in the open, quickly forced away here.
Enemies trying to take a point from us.
Veterans more has to deal with all these advancing hands. Artillery running down on it. Panzer IV needs to get ready, and we've got here stand fast once more. A Kednefer pushed out there by the hands as they push through here, through the remnants of the cemetery. More mortar hits going off, mines going off. Germans taking losses left and right, but they nonetheless push through the shattered British lines. Immediately wiping out here the 6-pounder gun crew beneath a flurry of bullets. And what is Burnededges planning next here? Who knows? Either way, we got the AC moving up. There shoots the Foxes as they try to salvage. They need to get the offset. And there we go. Retreats. Not because we killed the offset, because CCS retreats. Almost got the mortar emplacement there. Almost. AC those strikes first. Shots there going off, and there you go. Panda 4 takes a penetrate. Cromwell gets off another hit as well. And there you go. Recruit the 6-pounder gun. Panda 4 almost down. Has to get out of there. Pretty schnell. There you go. Blitz. Damage engine for a nicely popped mine, I think, or was it a Panzerfaust? It's hard to say. Either way, Cromwell, those with the damage engine, cannot pursue and finish off the Panzer 4 here. Very close shave there. And again, map here is now in control of Ccarts and the Fuhrer Grenadier Brigade. But burning it is once more again very focused in the centre, slightly losing control here of the rest of the map once more. There is getting some replacement sections up. They can't so easily replace all of the Bren guns. Loading gun there taking heavy hits, but the mortar emplacement still stands strong. There's yet to fall, and he went for it. He jolly well went for a Jagdtiger. A Jagdtiger, ladies and gentlemen, seems to be getting slightly more common here in 1 versus 1s, where they are otherwise rare. There you go, another Jagdtiger here with his 12.8 centimeter gun, which is also used as an anti-tank gun, the Pak 44, but which was also used as a direct fire piece of artillery, which could fire then really big high explosive shells against targets in front of it. Probably not a very fun experience. Getting the engine modifications there to make it a bit more, well, less of a large block of iron and scrap. German infantry spearheading there. That's the Jagdtiger follows up. First utilised in Operation North. And he actually tries to snipe the sniper with it. That's like the complete opposite end of the scale there, practically. Sniper versus Jagdtiger. Still slowly rolling ahead there. Also very thickly armoured. There you go. Sections out in front of it. Shoots machine gun. There you go. Gets a kill. And that's the secret about the Jagdtiger. Unlike the Elephant, it actually has AoE. Might not be the world's best AoE, but it has it. It actually has AoE. In fact, it has the same AoE as the Panzer IV. Just not quite nearly as accurate, I believe. And there you go. Gets another kill. I mean, if the Elephant at least had some AoE, it probably would at least be sort of roughly useful in a 1 versus 1, but its complete lack of AoE means it's not really that useful in a 1 versus 1 since it's just too specialised. But there you go, almost got the Cromwell there with a devastating hit from his 12.8 centimeter gun. 6 gun firing rate, but basically failing to penetrate or hit the massive monstrosity there. Panzer IV following up. Panzer is close being wiped out here by the sniper. Firing at the mortar emplacement here. Panzer is flanking in. Shot bounces off the Cromwell. Another hit there. Mortar emplacement negates most of the damage there from the Jagdtiger. And he got the AC flanking against the Cromwell. But at the same time, 6-pounder gun to deal with the Panzer IV. Got the sniper. Almost victory 3. Jagdtiger advances. Misses. No further infantry to spot away. But there you go. Panzer IV goes. Spots. Another hit there. Braces worn off. That mortar plate's going to go down next then. One more shot from the Jagdtiger and it's kaput. There we go. Annihilated.
The enemy have destroyed a forward emplacement.
Do you care for that, Panzer? Oh! Hit a mine and kaput. Jagdtiger is actually advancing here and is he actually going for the AVRE? I would probably not recommend an AVRE out with the Jagdtiger on the field. More Cromwells or Comets or Fireflies I think will work better versus the Jagdtiger than an AVRE. Just saying. But nonetheless, it is there. First served in Operation Nordwind, which was a follow-up operation to, well, the fight there in the Battle of the Bulge, meant to take advantage of all the attention there. Sort of try and push through in the, what's it called? Can't quite remember the name of the, oh yeah, the Alsace-Lorraine region, and push through there, basically. using a few Panzergunner divisions primarily. I think there was one Panzer division set up there, and otherwise the Jagdtigers. It's also in fact where the Flammheads are served. So in fact, for a force sort of set around, you know, the Battle of the Bulge, it's got an awful lot of equipment there from the follow-up Operation Nordwind, which as a rule of thumb really doesn't get much of a mention at all. It's also where the only Gebirgsjäger on the Western Front really fought as well. Fun fact. But there you go, section pushed back here. Jagdtiger providing us a massive assault gun, really. A super-heavy, if you will. Misses here, though, again, not really that accurate. It might be more useful than one actually was slightly more accurate as well there. But it's still more useful probably than the Elephant, to be honest. Though again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you to go for Jagdtiger as such. Big's in a lot of trouble overall here, Burnededges struck with the pony. Seems to sort of trying to figure out what to do here again. The Jagdtiger now got a lot of infantry screening it, holding the centre of the map here. The Führer Grenadier Brigade has put, oh, Big Light Brigade, can't remember now. Again, 2 brigades, can give me some funny issues there in memory. But one of the issues was basically for the larger part they had a lot of inexperienced crew. In fact, in some cases they actually used crews from Tiger tanks, which in theory would be nice, but the problem is they weren't used to fighting in a fixed gun, sort of their casemate, which meant they really didn't perform too well compared to the ones that actually, say, served in the Jagdpanther, who did better in the Jagdtigers. So a little fun fact there as well.
Our supply line's broken.
Folks in a bit of trouble. He's going for another Jagdpanzer here to support his Jagdtiger. Cromwell going up here, veteran defeat, high rate of fire, high mobility, Schwerpanzer quarters there. Turning up at the frontal armour, good work. Finding way there at high rate there. We could probably knock out the Schwerpanzer quarters very quickly. Kedner for 6 trying to come out from the there we go. Oh, that wasn't it. He got a hit, I think, but didn't really get any of the kills.
An anti-tank gun.
Grenade off there, Mills bomb. And we got officers retreating the section. 6-pounder gun, they're taking heavy fire. Jagdtiger wrecking their Kedner. Jagdpanzer arrives. Schwerpanzer quarters got knocked out there by Burnededges Cromwell. And it seems like he's a bit paralysed. He's not sure what to do or what to get. I mean, hey, by this point, gone for like 2 or 3 Cromwells. He could have swarmed the Jagdtiger and taken it out, to be honest, but instead he does end up going for the Churchill Aviary here.
Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
That's definitely, I think, a bad move. Again, a bunch of Cromwells here would have served him a lot better, or maybe a pair of Comets. Either way, more armour rather than a really big specialist meant for blowing up obstacles and troops. Jagdpanzer being about there, Cromwell being repaired at the front line. Jagdtiger slightly repositioned, need to be careful of that. I mean, if he gets caught off in the wrong point, that Jagdtiger is very much dead. But they're going engaging a section, at least trying to, with his 12.8 centimeter gun. Panzer is almost trapped here by the Churchill Aviary. Jagdtiger there rolling backwards. Huge steel monstrosity. Another truck there for Ccarts.
We're losing a capture point.
Cromwell heading out slowly. I mean, it's gained now the western side of the map there. And Burnededges finally realising there are edges of the map. Then he could also do the same here in the east again. Seems like he's unsure. Aviary moving ahead. Advancing now on its Churchill frame. Section advancing. Panzers are taking minor losses. Sniper dead though. Need to be careful there, Mr. Burnededges. There's Hans about. Alto Sandbag stuck down there by Ccarts men. Good, good. Still not upgraded. That's actually really surprising. I mean, he's gone through the entire game without upgrading his Fulch Grenadiers. That is surprisingly rare. Yaktiga misses again, though. Again, not that. Again, it can't kill infantry. It just doesn't very often, does it? Unless you actually have to really be really good at using attack ground or later on supporting fire. I've heard some players actually have a good kill ratio on the Yaktiga against infantry. It's just Renego shoots. Almost wipes the Panzerfusiliers there. Decent hit there with the aviary. Cromwell, those hang about there defending the north, but not supporting it versus the Yaktiga. And we got harassment towards the south again. Here's John Pioneers this time leading the effort for Germany.
A new infantry section is ready for battle.
Sectioning out there, Cromwell repulsing Fulch Grenadiers here. And we got the Yak Panzer seemingly covering the Yaktiga for now. Except it's now pulling back. Bit of quiet here as Burnededges, I imagine, is evaluating his options, trying to figure out where to push against Ccarts. Perhaps where to deliver the killing blow. At the same time, though, he can't afford to wait around forever because, well, he's starting to run low on victory points. Quick incendiary grenade there, minor losses. Sappers moving up. Fulch goes a bit of trouble. Almost right there, got annihilated. A bit of a loss there for Ccarts, a bit wasteful.
25 points left.
25 points left. His Yaktiga is just doing nothing. He doesn't have to worry. Don't worry, Heinz. Just have another schnapps. Yeah, schnapps. There we go. The aviator going in. Yaktiga finally has to move. Ach, mein Schnaps. I spilled it. There you go. Dazed by the Churchill aviary. But might not be fast. There you go. Hit. Doesn't do a lot of damage in the end, though, to the aviary. It's that well armoured. It actually, even from the Yaktiga, doesn't take a lot of damage. Sappers there, they're wiped out by Panzerfusilier and artillery fire. More Fulch Grenadiers charging in. 6-pounder gun moving up. Yak Panzer doing nothing. Got another Cromwell away for Burnededges. Check. Oh, getting flanked. He's turning about. He should have reverse moved it. Oh, 9. My God. ABA moving for another kill here. Yaktiga needs to turn. Schnell. Yak Panzer needs to get down there. Something. Los. And where's the veteran to fleet Cromwell? Oh, it's got a damaged engine. It's useless in this fight. Yaktiga turns its mighty frame about. Shoots, there you go. Taking it down to half health. Almost veterans want it. Yak Panzer flanks in. Yak Panzer, there we go. We got a 6-pounder gun. There we go. Wiped up by nearby Panzerfusiliers. Yak Panzer keeps you far away there at the Churchill. Fulch Grenadiers with the nearby Panzerfaust maybe. And no, we got game over here for Burnededges, realising the course is lost. And rather than throw away good butchers' lives, decide to retreat and give ground to the Hun. So a bit of a brutal fight here. Rare display of the Yaktiga being, you know, more than just a huge hunk of metal, though it was close, I think, therefore Ccarts, he lost it. Burnededges again, good control of the map, with the problem is, or centre of the map specifically. Problem is, you can't just control to Moscow by controlling the centre. You need to control the rest of the map as well, or at least more than just the centre. That was the problem for Burnededges. He wasn't very good at it, nor was he, I think, necessarily good at pushing his advantage. Again, he was too defensive in mindset, which allowed Ccarts to build up an advantage and again slowly overwhelm him and hit him from so points there. Though again, he could attack more from here as well. He was, I think, too obsessed with this particular part of the map there. But he was also good at harassing down here, so that's good. I mean, a lot of players forget about harassing down here. Thumbs up to Ccarts there. Thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, in fact. I mean, there was also some pretty interesting play here from Ccarts, even from Burnededges there, and particularly here with the sandbags there. Neat trick. Just sadly, he couldn't really, you know, push that more into the rest of the game as well. In that sense, Burnededges again, 2 defense around the centre. Ccarts again, some clever play here, but again, also a bit defocused here. So there's definitely some room there for improvement for both players, but again, also thought they had something interesting to bring to the table. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match, learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. If not, send in replay and some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. This is Imperial Dane signing off, and see you all. Bye.